You unlock what? Huh? Are you saying thank
I
you to the lady?
approve.
Okay. You unlock this door with a key of imagination. Beyond it is another podcast. It is Time Enough Podcast, where we go through anthology shows such as The Twilight Zone. And why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know. I'm amazed at now. Amazing.
Oh, going straight to okay. You're just doing the soundless death scream with a smile on your face. That's cool. This is Matt here, the man doing mugging for the camera on an audio podcast. Is Mark Malek. Hello.
I
Don't break your jaw, man.
I'm a snake. I
Yeah.
can do it.
Anyway, we're only on episode 2. I've recorded a few others, but this is number 2 for the episodes. It's 1 for the Angels. I think this goes in the batch of ones I had not seen. I've said it a few times, but basically I had a set of those, about 10 of those Image DVDs from way back in the early days. So those episodes I've seen a lot, and anything else I have not. So how about for you?
I have definitely seen this one, but you can also definitely count me among the people who have sort of watched the show entirely out of order all over the place. And interestingly enough, I was marathoning this New Year's Eve, which New Year's Eve 2020, which, or sorry, 2021, which feels just a billion years ago. But by marathoning, I mean I made it through the first episode and then halfway through this one.
So and then fell asleep. What?
My friends who I was hanging out with fell asleep because they have early bedtime. But we also did a bunch of other stuff.
Old people. Okay.
Yeah, they're younger than I am, but
right. Well, I'll hit a bit of the trivia here with our actors. Ed Wynn plays Louis Bookman. Wynn began his career in vaudeville, upscaling to radio in the 1930s and transitioning to television as early as 1936 and in an experimental NBC broadcast. He hosted one of the first TV variety shows in 1949 and played a mixture of comedic and dramatic roles until his death in 1966. He will be back to the zone for 90 years without slumbering. Murray Hamilton plays Mr. Death. Hamilton notched dozens of TV appearances, including Gunsmoke and The Untouchables, as well as roles in feature films. He is best known for playing Larry Vaughn, the mayor of Amity in 1975's Jaws and 1978's Jaws 2. Director Robert Parrish started off appearing in 30s shorts, including several Our Gang comedies. He shifted to film editing in the 1940s and directing in the 1950s. He's one of the 5 directors of 1967's Casino Royale and worked on the Peter Sellers scenes. He will direct 2 more episodes of The Twilight Zone. Okay, that's so I don't know. I don't hit everybody in these, just the a few pertinent people. So
kind of amazing they let the mayor of Jaws still be the mayor of Jaws 2.
Yeah, and he still has like a problem with it, and that one, does he?
I didn't see 2.
Oh, I don't. Did anybody see 2? I guess people saw it when it came out because you'd be like, hey, maybe it's good because the first one was good.
I'm bad with sequels. I didn't see Rambo 2 or Rocky 2 or barely ever seen Godfather 2.
Yeah, well, as long as you don't move on to 3, I guess. I don't know. It's not.
Didn't see that at all.
It's not as bad as they say, but yeah. Okay, Mark, can you take us into this trip, man?
Street scene, summer, the present. Man on a sidewalk named Lou Bookman, age 60-ish. Occupation, pitchman. Lou Bookman, a fixture of the summer, a rather minor component to a hot July. A nondescript, commonplace little man whose life is a treadmill built out of sidewalks. And in just a moment, Lou Bookman will have to concern himself with survival, because as of 3 o'clock this hot July afternoon, he'll be stalked by Mr. Death.
All right, some death. Okay.
Maybe I got sinister with that, but
we can be sinister, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing's more sinister than an impartial narrator.
Yeah, we're back. The impartial narrator. Yeah, so I guess he's a jolly old soul. Is this a fixture of the past? We don't have jolly old souls just like doing things for the children. We have much darker, horrible things.
It feels like a bygone. It doesn't feel like as much a bygone era as much as a bygone New York.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like this. Yeah, I feel like this city doesn't exist. This. Can you imagine living in New York selling just toys on the street? I could.
If you go to Canal Street, it makes sense. Although I'm talking
Yeah,
about Canal Street like 20 or 30 years ago, so I don't even know that when you think about it.
but I also can't imagine the guy who sells toys hanging out with the kids and then just be like, "Here's a toy for you. Here's a free one." Like that's weird.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
weirder.
It's like, why don't you get into the van next?
Yeah.
I got toy. I got more toys in the van. But no, Lou Bookman obviously is cooler than that, right? He's the Willy
I mean,
Wonka of mechanical toys.
we need him to be redeemable after he does a bunch of really stupid shit. Oh, can we curse on this podcast?
Yeah, sure, why not? But yeah, they do note he's born in 1890, right? So I mean, that's someone just absolutely
Mhm.
from a very different age. I mean, no one's around that old. I'm pretty sure.
Well, 1890 meant something different in 1960. When did this air? I don't know.
1959.
Yeah, well, 1959 is as far from 1890. It's closer to 1890 than it is to now,
Yeah, yeah, it's almost
for perspective.
equidistant, but we've gone past the line now.
No,
So,
no, it's 80 years ago.
oh, excuse me, I wasn't
Wait,
thinking that.
no, 60.
No,
You're right. 60 versus 70.
I forgot about
So
the 10 years in the 19th century. I was partying too hard for those 10 years. Uh,
60
60,
versus 8,
70.
60 versus 70. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So we're a little closer to this episode than that was to 1890. But yeah.
no, it's farther away, but it's farther away by 10 years.
Right. Math. This is math time.
This is hard.
with the mechanical toys. Were you with me? It was actually the Japan area of Epcot Center that had like this insane display of vintage mechanical toys several years back.
I don't recall that. I know we went to Epcot Center 11 years ago, but I
That's
don't
why I'm asking.
recall.
Okay, because I went with my wife like 12 years ago, so that must be when it was there.
We were drunk.
Yeah, but anyway, it was a really hip display. Just it was all the crazy, like little tin Godzillas and basically the toys you're seeing in this episode. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I was
He's
just immediately like, it's Robbie the Robot. I don't know if maybe that wasn't Robbie the Robot. I really thought it was from Forbidden Planet.
There's probably a Robbie the Robot somewhere in there. That was in the display in Epcot Center, I'm sure. So
I mean, I can't imagine that Robbie the Robot wasn't just based on a Japanese design already or something like that.
yeah, I didn't research that for this.
Mm.
But yeah, we after his little Willy Wonka experience, he's got like this like kind of tiny hipster apartment. So, of course he's
Mhm.
doomed for death, right?
A tiny hipster apartment that he just doesn't really seem to care if anyone's just in it.
Yeah, you could leave your doors unlocked until, the Manson family, right?
Yeah,
At least
kids
in
showing up, death showing up.
LA, that's what they say. They leave the doors unlocked. That's why they could go creepy crawling all the time.
Is it just me or do all the kids in this episode just kind of feel like they're adults? Like I wrote in my notes that it felt like they probably were going off to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. I mean, I mostly came off, just thinking of our two main actors. Everyone else, after the first viewing kind of like sputtered out my brain. There's a little girl, there's the landlady, I guess. They're just kind of there. I mean,
Yeah, the little girl is like really important. She's the only reason that Lou dies. He dies for you, like
right.
Jesus.
Well, he was just looking for his unfinished business, right? That's his little out, which I think in real life is probably the lady who built the Winchester Mystery House. Are
Wait,
you familiar?
what?
Are you familiar with the Winchester Mystery House?
Are you telling me that the little girl in this episode built the
No,
Winchester
no,
Mystery
no, no.
House?
I'm saying that the lady the Winchester lady who built it was staving off death by having this unfinished project.
Oh yeah.
Because
I
if you
think it's a lot simpler. I guess there's a lot of ways you can read it. It seemed a lot simpler to that than that. He was just going to run away from death until death gave him the choice of you can either die or this little girl dies, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know.
E-
You got to put some stakes in the matter, but
Even though, and I do like this a lot, it seemed to me kind of ambiguous whether Death was just sort of playing him or whether Death was actually honestly like swayed by his pitch.
that well, yeah, you're still pissed at the mayor of Amity, right? I felt like
But,
Death was offering a pretty solid deal considering his job, you know.
but do you think that Death actually forgot about his appointment, or was he just sort of humoring Lou so he could just take him
Oh,
because he
I
knew he
don't.
had him?
Oh, I don't know. He seemed like a groovy cat though. So
But does groovy mean that you are like genuinely going to be flustered over like some silk ties and stuff?
well, that's why I brought up the Winchester Mystery House because Death kept showing up, and Mrs. Winchester would be like, "I need to build another stairway to nowhere first, right?" Because the story there is as soon as construction stopped, she died.
That's a pretty good pitch.
Yeah,
I'm going to build the most insane tourist attraction the world has ever seen.
you're gonna have some competition if you're going against the Mystery House, man.
True.
that
No, I
that
mean
is.
I'm saying that was her pitch.
Oh, okay. I thought you personally were gonna go about doing that next.
No.
Like,
I think I
was
don't know. What's crazier, the Winchester Mystery House or H.E. Holmes murder house?
that doesn't exist anymore though. They, I'm
Sorry,
pretty sure they
H.H.
tore
Holmes. H.E. Holmes is the MARTA station.
He Holmes. Okay. Anyway, I'm pretty sure they
uh,
tore down that hotel.
oh, it's gone. There's a post office there now.
Okay, because you can.
Also, it is disputed whether that was really a thing. All the shoots to dungeons or whatever that may have
Well,
been kind of manufactured.
you just got to believe, man.
I mean, I want to believe. I want to believe that if he murdered a bunch of people, that he did just go around like pulling trapdoors and sending people into furnaces or whatever. I mean, that's like the fun way to do it, right?
So, okay, that's is Death killing anyone in this? I guess should be our thought. He just shows up for his
Yeah.
appointments, right?
I guess death kills everyone. I mean, I guess death always kills everyone. That's like the world the world we're accepting here. The canon
Yeah,
is
because
that
I
this
mean,
guy kills everyone always,
so that
every
makes him not
time.
as much of a groovy cat. Unless Death is cool, right? Death is a door to another way of life, man.
But also he couldn't be the only death, right? Because while he's talking to Bookman, then other people have to be dying somewhere, right?
He bilocates like Santa Claus and Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
I mean, come on, he's
Quantum, yeah,
supernatural. He
there's
can
just
do
a
that.
bunch of him. Yeah.
From where he is, all time and space is 1 point, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, he can be wherever he wants in a room unless he's being distracted by a pitch.
What are the Carlos Castaneda books where you have Don Juan saying you don't see death? He's always just behind your left shoulder till he finally taps you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Except for
so
in this case where he's in front of you,
right.
like a lot.
That's my point. He's in front of you a lot here. What was the other thing I heard? It was some probably trippy book where someone was talking about the idea that you have 5 departure points in your life, basically.
Hmm.
I mean,
Well,
not like suicide, just like times when events would conspire to your demise. So on a subconscious level, maybe you'd be choosing it, but not on an actual level.
hmm. I mean, that is interesting. I mean, I've heard about whatever the three deaths where you die and there's the last person who ever knew you who dies, and then the last time anyone speaks your name.
Oh, okay.
Do you think Mr. Death shows up for that?
I'm taking that name. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just the last time anyone mentions I don't know, Elvis Presley.
Yeah, he does kill that innocent flower, so I guess he has his wiles, right?
Well, to be fair, the flower would have died after the guy who lived in the apartment died anyway.
Yeah. I do like that he's talking to a chair long before Charlton Heston did.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's one of the best comedy routines ever, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I like how the scene where the little kid, she basically gets a chance to be like, "Oh, you got an imaginary friend. Okay." It's just further further drives the point home that all the kids in this episode are adults.
Well, he's getting senile probably by this point.
Yeah,
This
he's
is, I mean,
60-ish.
he's making a Hail Mary pitch here at the end, right? So, um,
Okay, so when he talked about making a pitch, was I the only one who thought, is he talking about like pitching an idea for a new toy or possibly pitching at a baseball game? It
I
wasn't
never,
incredibly clear.
I never thought it was a baseball game.
I thought it might have been a baseball game. There's
No,
a team called the Angels, right?
right, there is, but I think it's kind of a play on words. It's
Yeah,
like
I mean, now I'm pretty clear on what he meant. But I was kind of like, oh, is he gonna pitch? Oh, this is a helicopter that
but I
is
did
also
have
an
a little bit
ostrich.
of disconnect if he was going to if it meant he was going to do a sales pitch or pitch a business plan, which is a very different thing. And I was thinking pitch a business plan, and at the end he's just like trying to hawk his own crap, right? More or less. Well, himself, but that's his own crap.
Yeah, I guess the word pitch sort of means something different now than it did back then. That's
I
all
know
I can
you.
really come up with.
I know you still hear about the elevator pitch, right?
Yeah, but that's an elevator pitch is never to like sell one thing to someone. That's just that's just weird. I feel like an elevator pitch is like, I've got a script for you, or
Mhm.
and nobody's ever done this before.
So after spending what 15 to 20 minutes whining about it, did Lewis show you how to die properly?
I feel like I probably would have just been like, okay, you can teleport. We can go. I'll just
Yeah.
die.
Well,
I
they
maybe
don't
I'll
just show
feel
him
differently
fall
when I'm
over.
69 and death shows up, but he spends a really long time being really obtuse about it. Like, what? What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
I'm
And
an
then
old
immediately
man.
goes
What
to,
does death mean?
and then immediately is just like, haha, tricked you. He keeps trying to trick him, but just he's the same guy who didn't have any idea what was going on earlier.
Well, I guess that's why I was getting back to death being a groovy cat, because he's like, yeah, sure, I'll play along with this. So okay, maybe that gets to where you're saying like he's just playing along with them. But
But I mean, that's a really nice thing to do, just to give someone the personal touch. It's like when you let someone win in Street Fighter
maybe death
once.
doesn't always get to like just hang out with people. So
Yeah, maybe it's that.
yeah, death just wants some company. That's all.
Well, like I said earlier, I think it's great that it's ambiguous. If
They
it
sh-
if it was just if he was just like, sure, I'll take you with me, and then he winks at the camera, that would have been terrible. That's
that's why
also,
this show is high quality, because
yeah, that's why the show is good. And I bet if it happened in I don't know, Touched by an Angel or something. Sorry, I've never seen that show, but I'm just choosing to throw it under the bus. Something from the 90s. It would be like wink. Ha ha ha.
yeah. But
Freddy Krueger would have winked at you.
and then said bitch.
No. No, this is like after the second movie he was done. After the third movie he's done saying bitch. He just winked.
Yeah. I'm done doing that. Okay. So yes, Mr. Death here is a much more kindly dispatcher than Freddy Krueger. We'll give him that.
Yeah. Yeah, way to go, man.
As they're strolling off the end, I did want just to throw in the line, this could be the star of a beautiful Fred show.
I wanted since his pitch was, hey, it's me as your servant, I wanted it to be like, well, I wanted him to just go to the next death and just have like Lou Bookman just hanging out as his like sidekick. That would have made me like a little bit happier. It's just been like, yeah, now this guy is just always gonna tag along with you for deaths.
No, actually, it turns out Death is horrible, and Lou's new job is to clean up what comes out when someone dies.
Yeah, he just immediately goes to Vietnam. It's just like, all right, you have to tell this half of a person that at the time. No, he said he only comes for people. He only talks to people who are on natural causes, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get into the gnarly stuff. He's the classy death guy. He doesn't deal with
Yeah,
like like someone ripped apart by the Thing or something like that.
Yeah, he's not here to offer you puns about how you're in grave danger or whatever else. Whatever most Grim Reapers would do.
You'll be in grave danger by midnight.
Be in grave danger.
Again, that's
Don't
why the
lose
show
your
is so
head.
well written.
Yeah, it's a good show.
But it
Well,
is
not,
fun
not the
to
Tales
pick
from
up
the
the
Crypt
puns.
is bad, but Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Crypt is it's the narrator and he's separate. Tales from the Crypt is like if that guy was Rod Serling.
I mean, if you want to see the Twilight Zone written kind of badly, I guess we've already released it. So I'm watching the Twilight Zone movie. Some of the segments are pretty good. One of them gave me a proper nightmare, even. But the first two are just kind of dodgy. They're not particularly well written.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I have to say that for keeping the cast alive, 0 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. And I probably mentioned that one, although I haven't recorded it yet. But yeah, George Miller just straight dropped out of the film, and Joe Dante had to go and like finish his segment. George was like, "Enough of this. Goodbye."
Wow, I
Yeah.
missed that whole thing. I've watched the Shudder's cursed movies episode about that.
Right. So
It's
definitely.
just sort of a lot of people saying how John Landis was like didn't care, and then John Landis had made no comment. So
Yeah. He
say John
doesn't.
Landis came off not looking so great on that one.
No, I think his rep now is even still tarnished by that, as it should be. Because,
Yeah, it is, and his son is even worse possible. Now I guess his son hasn't killed anyone, but
well,
his
it
son
was
has a
the hell.
bad rep
It
as
was
well.
the whirling rotor blades that took out the cast members.
Yeah, I think that was the whole thing where it was like we need to just go ahead and shoot this at midnight without checking the helicopter.
Right.
I may be misquoting. Don't sue me,
No,
somebody.
and Mr. Death did not show up there in no natural causes. So
That'd be really interesting if they just release a director's cut and they just show Mr. Death like standing over the helicopter for a second.
ouch.
Oh no.
As
Anyway,
for this one, some questions I like to get into, because asking if it like holds up or something doesn't really make sense for the show. It's all pretty, even when it's bad, it's well made. So stands
I
the
think
test of time.
yeah, I'd be hard pressed to even I would have to go looking for a Twilight Zone episode that didn't at least kind of hold up.
So the questions I like to ask are one, sometimes it's more clear than other times for both these, but who took the trip into the Twilight Zone this time? Luce, I guess, did. Yeah. Did
Yeah.
was the girl there too? She was pretty involved.
No, the girl could have if Lou was like a son of a bitch, then the girl could have ended up in the Twilight Zone. But even then, she probably would have just died like a normal death, like
Right.
how a child usually dies in 1959, which is just probably all the time.
Right. Okay. So the next question is, does he deserve his trip into the Twilight Zone? I guess that's what's saying, do you deserve your eventual death? Which you just gotta
Yeah.
just accept that, I guess, if it's natural causes.
Well, going into the Twilight Zone isn't always like a negative thing.
Right. No,
I
that's
mean,
why I'm
okay,
asking the question. That's why I asked the question, do they deserve it?
yeah. I guess the question would be like, would he deserve going through all that rather than just dropping dead? Sure, I think he learned something.
Well, he
I
could
think he
have
deserved it.
I don't know, he could have done something. He could have like bought a really, really expensive dinner in, Little Italy instead of messing around with the death all evening.
That would have been really smart. He could have just been like, okay, I'll go with you midnight, and then he just goes gets really expensive dinner, and then he
Give
was
me
only
one
in
of
the Twilight
everything.
Zone.
Give
He
me
would
two
only
of
be in the
everything.
Twilight Zone for a few minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't.
So maybe he
Um,
could have played it differently, but it wouldn't have been as entertaining an episode. And
I feel anytime the Twilight Zone is like adjacent to the Christian idea of the afterlife, that's like not. I don't think that's especially Twilight Zoney.
yeah, but 1959 television, you really had to press that button a lot. You
Yeah,
can get away with much stranger things now, like on Stranger Things.
certainly.
Not that I actually haven't watched that much Stranger Things, but I played the video
Oh.
game, the kind of Zelda copy
Uh,
video game for
I
mobile.
heard it. I heard it was bad.
I don't know. I played it for some reason. So yeah, but I didn't watch the show. I just played the game.
The show was pretty good at first, but it sort of declined a little bit.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't have strong feelings about it because it's still like a quality show with good actors and decent writing. So
Anyway, I just brought it up because I had just said it, so I felt like I needed to name check it. But
the worst thing about it is just that now things happen like in Godzilla versus Kong. The girl from Stranger Things is in it, and they're just decide to send her off in a van with a weird kid and a weird adult to do Stranger Things stuff.
oh, you don't
Like
even have to
that
add
was
stuff. You can just say
required.
to do Stranger Things.
Yeah, they just do Stranger Things. Yes, but
Yeah.
didn't you kind of feel like that was just shoehorned in super hard, and like
This
even
whole
the
this
synth
whole
wave music
conversation.
starts?
Oh yeah. Oh right. Oh,
Yeah.
you're actually talking. Sorry, I just figured out you're actually talking about the Godzilla Kong movie. Okay. Yes, the
Yeah, what did you
synthwave.
think? Yeah, the film with the girl from Stranger Things in
Yeah.
it.
What once you said the synthwave, I was like, oh yes, okay. I
Yeah,
got it.
it was, that's how you introduce, the guest monster in that film, but it still was a little bit, I don't know, we're going way off track.
Okay. Anyway, the one on topic question I still wanted to get to is you may remember my old tripometer. So I'm reinstating the tripometer for these episodes on a scale of 1 to 5. You can use decimal points if you'd like.
Uh 2.1.
Okay, mine was going to be 2.0 because it's a good episode, but it's
Yeah,
like you said it. Maybe it hews so
not
close
trippy.
to the Christian view of the afterlife it loses its trippiness. So
It's not a bad episode. It's just, yeah, not it's not weird, and it is, if anything, the weirdness just comes from the sort of double crossing, which is entirely Mr. Bookman's fault. But
yeah,
who could blame him?
it's pretty playful double crossing, I guess, if you're dealing with death. So
I don't want to die. I mean, I know some people do, but I don't.
well, you got to do it right, like Lou. Lou showed you how to die properly in the end after waffling for a while.
I mean, I presume that what could have happened was death could have just been like, well, now that this girl's going to die, and then you're going to die too. And
Two
also, I'm
for
going to
one
kill everyone who
special.
saw this accident. I assume maybe that the Hayes Code would not allow that in
Gas
1959 or
leak.
whatever it was. Yeah,
But no, that's why he's natural causes, so he can't pull that kind of stuff, I guess.
yeah. We'll leave that for a Freddy's Nightmares episode.
Right. As for this is Time Enough podcast. As of this recording, I haven't made the Facebook, Twitter stuff, but I'm pretty sure I can use that title straight away. So look for that. We Patreon stuff at Podcastius. We also do sci-fi films and Matt and Luke's Sci-Fi Sanctuary, which Mark sometimes stumbles into. Oral Hygiene,
Indeed.
where we talk about educational films, which Mark stumbles into more often. And
Mm-hmm.
there's also people talking about them Pokemons and them Monster Hunters. So you can hear that if you'd like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Midnight, time to go.
All right. Ding 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 ding. Oh, death has come for this podcast.